Good morning, friends. I just wanted to do a quick update, epilogue number 2 for my trip. A lot of this is for me to remember. So I'm staying in Barcelona. I'm staying with Jesus's order, the Saint John of God. It's kind of interesting. So these brothers live in a very, very simple lifestyle. The rooms in this I'm staying in a hospital. It's a children's hospital in Esplugas, where we stay on the top floors. And so their bedrooms, their personal space is pretty small. It's a small twin bed. You have your own bathroom and shower, and then a small space to put your personal belongings like your clothes. I think for what we're used to in the United States, it's very, very, so they very simple. I mean, they live a very simple lifestyle. They eat all their meals together. So breakfast, lunch, dinner at Spanish times, right? Breakfast is at 8, lunch is at 2, dinner is at 8, 8:30, 9, depending upon the day of the week. And then they have people visiting. So, Jesus invited me to stay with him because I'm his friend, and this is basically his home. I mean, it is his home. And so if he's going to have visitors come, I told him that in the United States we would say fish and visitors smell in 3 days. But he was very adamant that it wasn't a problem for me to stay more than 3 days. And then everybody's very friendly. I mean, all these people have committed their lives to helping others. So as you can imagine, they're really friendly and easy to get along with, and very helpful with anything. All of the brothers have have different obligations and duties. So they're really helpful. There's a brother from Benin that's here studying anesthesia. They have a person from one of their hospitals in Mexico that is here studying psychiatry. They have a family from Senegal that's staying with them, and they bring in various families, to get different treatments. And so it's a pretty interesting, staying with this group and talking to them. And there's also a brother here from Italy whose family is from the Barcelona area, so he's just here visiting family. So he stays here while he's visiting the family. But the food is from the hospital, so this is a gigantic hospital, and so they cook food for their patients, and so they just cook a little extra food and they bring it up for the brothers to eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then they have a little bit of food up there. But it's kind of interesting. So their idea is to live as a traditional Christian community where they share everything, and so that's kind of what it is. So I bought some Orojo cream for Jesus because at the end of the Camino, obviously he liked it. And so, he breaks it out, and he doesn't, it's not for him. Like, he was like, hey, I've got this Rojo cream, who wants some, shares it with everybody. He stores it in their communal refrigerator. Last Sunday when I was here, the similar thing is somebody had pacharan. And so they were, trying to share anytime. It's like that at every meal, somebody has something and they're like, hey, I've got this. Would anybody like? And so they're very communal in how they live and sharing things. They live very simply, share everything. It's a very kind of interesting, to be around. And it's also interesting to be around when I'm at dinner or I'm eating a meal, all the Spanish speakers are on my left and the French speakers are on my right. So it's kind of interesting because I'm trying to study the Spanish and keep up with my Spanish studies and listen to them. But I took French in college, and my French is much better, so I understand much more of the French, even though it's been 40 years ago, than I do the Spanish. But it's really neat. They're very friendly. There's obviously a language barrier, but it's a really kind of a neat place to stay. And then yesterday I went to Sitges, which is it's a real touristy beach town, even more international than Barcelona. I think English is more common there than Spanish or any other language because they have so many tourists. Even though you hear lots of English in Barcelona, in Sitges, seemed like it was almost all English. At least maybe that's just what my ear was attuned to. Last night, I got this really interesting opportunity. So the brother from Benin, Justin, Jesus, and I went out to this meditation center that's run by their order. So it's St. John of God Catholic Meditation Center, which I can say I didn't know those kind of places existed. And I don't think this is incredibly common, at least from my understanding. But this guy, Eladio, was a priest. or is a priest, I should say. He's also studied Buddhism. He says in a previous life he thinks he was a Buddhist because he has such an attachment to Buddhism. And so they've got kind of this retreat spiritual center. There's one building that's like a meeting space, business center. It's got a bunch of rooms on the top 2 floors for people to stay. They've just been renovated, as nice as rooms as you would see in any hotel, maybe smaller, right? I mean, they're not huge rooms, but they're very nice and clean. And then on the first floor are all kind of different kind of meeting rooms and meeting spaces for people to meet. And apparently their order will go and meet there from time to time. And the other building is a meditation building. On all the doors, there's rooms to stay there too, and all the doors are names of mystics. And then they've got pictures of Buddha. At the entrance, he's got a tree. It's a metal tree that's on the wall as you enter. And it's a tree that expands out and shows the different faith traditions. And Eladio told me that he doesn't want to close his mind to any faith tradition. What's really kind of interesting about it is the area outside the meditation center is really designed, as he says, to bring energy from the earth, to connect people with the energy from the earth. And he showed us some pictures of energy coming out of the earth. And he said at the time that he took the picture, he could not see the energy with his eyes. But another person there told him. And so he took the picture, and the energy shows up on the picture. It looks like fire or red coming up as the energy. And then there's a maze that they have there, and the maze, what the sign says, as I translated it from Catalan to English, the sign says that during the Crusades, it was really hard to do a pilgrimage to Jerusalem because of the danger. So many of these churches had these type of mazes. In the maze, you walk very slowly. I didn't get to walk the maze because we went to the actual meditation session, but you're supposed to walk the maze slowly. And it's a maze. It's not a straight line. It's lots of twists and turns that are supposed to represent, how life goes, that you have lots of twists and turns in life. But it was a real neat kind of to help you meditate and connect to the earth. Eladio said there's 5 trees planted there, and the trees, he didn't know this when he planted there, but he's told that he planted them in the right order and space to connect with the energy from the earth. And I think they added some quartz stone there. While we were there were people meditating in that specific space. So it was really, pretty interesting. And then we went to a meditation center session, and he talked a lot about silence and the meditations there. The center really focuses on silence. He gave me a card that said, silence, I think as I interpret it correctly, silence makes everything anew. And the idea of meditating in silence. And so the meditation session, he said a bunch of words that Jesus had to tell me later what they meant, but they basically extolled the virtues of silence. And so the meditation is silent, and then he hits the sticks, and then at one point you stand up and you do kind of a walking meditation around the center, and then you go back into the room, and then you finish the meditation session. But it was really interesting. I asked Jesus if Eladio considered himself a mystic, and he said, without a doubt, Eladio would consider himself a mystic. But it was a really neat experience, and you get to see the grounds and the area. And Eladio doesn't speak really good English, and of course I don't speak Spanish, but it's really interesting talking to him about his beliefs and his thoughts. And then going to a meditation at a center run by a Catholic Brotherhood. So I'll put up some pictures. My youngest fan, apparently Isaac, so Nick is back in New Zealand. I almost said Australia, I'm sorry. Is back in New Zealand. He's spending this week with his kids, and he and Isaac, and I don't know about the rest of his family, but he and Isaac are watching the videos and seeing the pictures of Nick, and so I'll put up a picture of Isaac and Nick. Obviously Isaac is a very cute kid, bright blonde hair, which, at one time I had bright blonde hair before I lost it when I was a kid. I'll put up a picture of the maze and some of the other things from the center in that space where people meditate. Eladio he was a priest, or is a priest, studied to be a priest, and then studied to be, he's a physiotherapist, and so he does treatments on people, but the treatments are based on both physical and spiritual, mental well-being. So he doesn't, he's got a space where he does physiotherapy But then he's also got a lot of other things in the room. He was showing me where the treatments includes many other things other than just trying to treat the physical body, which I thought was all neat. And apparently it's all free, right? You just go there. There's nothing. They don't charge for anything there. And then they have a lot of volunteers that help out. And then they also have a pool. So every meditation center should have this nice big pool. That's the update. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.